Good morning. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I don't think I'm going to have anybody watching me, but I am going to stamp and play and colour. So if anybody does happen to join me, that will be great. I'm just going to I'm standing up and I'm setting myself up as we're going. I am going to try and hobble this together for YouTube as well. But I am just playing, so if you want to come and join me, welcome. I'm just trying to set myself up so I can see any comments, should there be any. And I'm going live from my newish phone as well, so I haven't done that before. So if you are watching, just jump in and say hello so I know. Right, so I am playing with the Don't Stop Believin' stamp set, and check this guy out. Woohoo! Isn't he just the nicest? Now, I don't know how to zoom in on this phone either, so I assume it'll just be like, whoop, yeah, just like normal. There we go. Isn't he the coolest? He is from, hello. Good. Oh, good. I thought, well, you know what? I haven't been live in like forever, so let's just do that. I'm just stamping in Memento. I'm actually not even sitting down. I'm just standing up, gathering all my supplies, and thought, well, you know what? I'm going to colour. I'm going to colour, and you guys might like to watch as well. Cool. Okay, I think I'm all set up. So check out the new stamp set that I will be playing with. Santa got me on this one. He did. Good morning. Hello. So that's the one that we're going to use. I'll just get that shine off of there. I feel better standing up, but I can't see comments when I stand up, so I'll have to sit down eventually. So that's the one we're going to be using today. And I did make a card out of it. I'm not sure whether you saw my post earlier, but that's my card that I used with a few new little bits and pieces on there as well. But I'm going to show you how to colour in. So let's just get straight into that, shall we? My fingers are absolutely frozen. I've got a couple of chilblains on them, so you'll have to excuse the colour of them as well. I'm just going to tilt my iPad a little bit better. Okay, so to start with, I have stamped in my Memento, which is, I always feel breathless when I do these. So Memento is a water-based ink, but because we're using the alcohol markers, we need opposites. So water-based for alcohol, and when you're watercolouring, you need a permanent alcohol base. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, good morning everyone. Nice to have some people join with me. Okay, I'm going to start with my real red, and I'm going to use the dark real red, and I'm going to use the bullet tip as well. So make sure that we're in view nicely, and I'm just going to start around the base of my, I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just colouring in. So I'm just going to oops, I went outside the line then. I'm just going to outline. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have left a little bit more space so I could cut him out in a different shape, because I want to make a different card with him, not the one that I've already made. Never mind. Anyway, so I'm going to make this a little bit thicker, and I might as well do all my dark red at the same time. So I'll just outline that a little bit. Outline all these areas. So how is everyone today? Is it cold? Is it sunshiny? We are sunshiny, but it's cold. Although it's probably not cold if I sat outside. So I'm just going to go carefully under his beard here. And because he doesn't have a formal like finishing off, I'm just going to sort of wing it a little bit. And excuse me if I don't talk and colour in so much. I still, oh, no, that's okay. I was thinking I went out. Don't worry. Okay, that's his area there, and also need to do his sleeve here. So I need to come back on that side. Okay, I think I've got all my red bits. And now I'm going to come in with my light. And I'm just going to go over the top of my red and extend it out a little bit. Not so much up there, but I also want to, I know that his hat would probably be fluffy, but I wanted a little bit of shine on his hat for some reason. I just thought it looked pretty cool. So I'm just going to bring that in and just leave a little bit of white up in that area. Okay. So I hope you're getting all your colouring practice going on, especially for those who are holed up. Nothing like a good colouring in session to make you forget everything, huh? So this guy here is going to be available on the 4th of August, which is sometime next week. I don't actually know what day it is next week, but I'll have to get myself organised. Figure that out. So just where the little dark area is here, I just sort of like to try and blend that in a little bit more. Okay. And I'm just going to come back with my dark again and just go around some of those areas again, just a little bit, just to add a little bit more depth. A little bit more shadow. And make it a little bit more richer. And then if I feel like I've got too much of a harsh line, I'll probably come back with my light again. So that's the real red done, and I think I've got all of them. Okay, next I think I will work on his glove. So I'm actually going to use 3 colours for his glove. I'm going to use the light basic black and then the combo of the dark and light smoky slate. So I'm going to start with my black first, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to outline the whole lot, but I am going to come around the areas where there would be a little bit of shadow. So there's a few little drawn in areas around there, and I'm going to draw along the line. There's a few, I don't know whether you can actually see them properly or not, but there's a few little lines in between his fingers and his knuckles. I'm going to outline that in a little bit of black and around there. And then there's a few little fine lines which I'll bring along there as well. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Say hello. I feel like I'm chatting to myself. Okay, so the next colour is the dark smoky slate, and again I'm just going to go over the top of my black and out a little bit. Or sometimes if you're just like me, I just sort of tend to watch live and keep quiet. So I'm just going to come around his little fingers there, along those lines that I drew in. So his glove isn't going to be black, it's because I still want to see a little bit of detail going on in there. So next is the light smoky slate, and I'm just going to fill in all the white space now and try and work out some of those blend lines. So sometimes you have to go over areas quite a bit. Okay, and then again, if you want to go, whoops, dropping my lens. Again, if you want to go a little bit darker, I wouldn't go in with the black again, but I will definitely go in with my grey, think I've got my grey. Yep, my smoky slate, and just go over those darker areas again, just because I've sort of washed them out a little bit. Okay, so there is his glove, and as the colours settle and sink into the paper, I find that my colours change a tiny little bit as well. Okay, so next is going to be his skin, and I'm going to use the ivory, and I'm also going to use a little bit of petal pink and a tiny bit of the light coral. Okay, yeah, he is bigger actually. He is about, if you leave a little bit of space around him, he's about 9 centimetres by about 7. So if you wanted to put him into a rectangle, so he is quite a decent size, and he's good to colour. Okay, so we're going to do skin tone now, and make sure I've got you in the right spot. So with your skin tone, and we don't have a lot of skin tone colours, we've pretty much only got the ivory and the bronze, but we still want to try and give his face a little bit of colour and dimension and lifelike about him. So I'm going to start with my ivory, and I'm just going to go around his skin area. Now this eye is winking, so we just want to cover over that whole area. Okay, and it comes down a little bit with his cheek down there, a little bit of cheek over there, around his eye, he's got a few little wrinkles going on, and down his nose, a bit under there. Now I originally left his glasses white like that, and I was going to come in with a different colour and colour over the top of it, and then I thought, well, that's not very realistic, because when you wear glasses, they're clear and you can see straight through them and you can see the skin. So I ended up going back over his glasses, but I did change it a little bit, but we'll get to that. So I find that with the Stampin' Blends, we can actually layer colour on, like I can keep going back. So for example, it's probably just best if I show you rather than try and explain to you. If I go over it again, I can actually make a little shadow line where his hat sits on his head. So I can actually go in with the same colour. I don't have to have another colour to go back in. So I can actually add a little bit of detail just by keeping on layering up my colours. So I've got a little bit of shade going on the inside of his eye, and on the edge of his nose, and also around the bottom of his lip here, underneath his moustache, a little bit around the outside, you know, where there'd be a little bit of shadow from his finger here. And I can keep layering up these colours. I don't know whether you can actually see that now. I'll bring him up closer. So you can see where I've put on a little bit of extra colour around his nose and under his arm here, and so you can see that little bit of extra shading, and you can keep going with that shading until you get to the point where you're happy with it. So you don't actually need a darker colour, you can just keep going. Okay, so a little bit around his wrinkles, nose, etc. Okay, so that gives him a little bit more realistic. Now I'm going to come in with my light petal pink and just make him a little bit blusher. So just around his cheeks, his lip, just around those dark highlight areas that I actually just did. So it just puts a little bit of pink into his skin tone. Okay, and then where his cheeks are, I'm going to use the brush tip for this one, and I'm just going to put a really, really light blush just in his cheeks there. And you can go over where his glasses are, that's fine. Now, when I do cartoon characters, I tend to really exaggerate that, but I just want this a little bit soft, and I might actually just put a tiny little bit on his lip line as well. Then, to get rid of that, I know I've just put it there, but then to just get rid of it again and tone it down, I'm going to just come in with my ivory again. Oops, that's not my ivory, that is my petal pink. come in with my ivory and just, oh my goodness, I'll get it right soon. And just go around and over the top of that, just to tone the blush down, but you still get a nice little bit. I can't help it, I keep playing. Okay, I think he's got a fairly realistic look about him now. Let me bring him up. He's got a little bit of shape to his face. Now, going back to the glasses, I'm going to use a grey, the light grey, and I'm just going to add a little bit of, I wonder if I can get in closer here. Let me just see. A little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to pop in a small amount of grey just over the top of my glasses here, just to separate them a little bit from his skin. So we actually want to see, and I'm going really, really lightly, I'm not putting much on at all. I just want to give a little bit of, so it looks like there's actually glass in there. And then you can just go back and forwards again with your ivory, just to get rid of that, smooth it out. So hopefully that makes sense. Tuned in late. Okay, so the colour for his face is ivory, petal pink and coral, but you'll be able to come back in, oh, and a little bit of grey for his glasses, but you can come back in and watch the replay afterwards. So now I am going to do, I think all we've got left is his white area, but before I do that, you can actually see a tiny bit of his eye. He does have a tiny, tiny bit. So with, I'm just choosing blue, and you probably won't be able to see this anyway, but I'm just going to put a tiny, and I'm not even colouring, I'm just dotting, just to put a tiny little bit of colour in his eye there. Okay, so now for all the white areas, I'm going to use the grey granite light, and I'm also going to use my colour lifter. And I'm going to use my brush tip for this one instead of my bullet. So I'm going to do his pom-pom first because that's probably the easiest one. There's a little bit of drawing on here already. So I'm just going to follow that around in a U shape, just like that, not too heavy. Now under here, I'm just going to put a light little bit of wash under there because there would be a bit of shadow. And there's a little bit of sketch over here, so I know that I can do a little bit of shading over on that side too. And that's all I'm going to do for his hat. His cuff down here, I'm going to do a little bit of shadow under here where his gloves come. And there's also a little bit of shading here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of grey there as well. Okay. And then for his beard and moustache and his eyebrows, I'm just going to gently flick on just a tiny little bit of, like you probably can't even see it, tiny, tiny little bit around his hairline, around where the shadow would be from his finger, and a little bit from the pom-pom. Then I will come under his nose, just really, really gently, under the moustache and his lip. Because I don't want to change the colour, I don't want to make it too grey, but I just want to have a little bit of shadow going on. Now down in his beard, you can see that his hair actually overlaps in a few areas, so you can actually put a little bit of grey on the areas that some of the hair overlaps others. So you can just bring it up, and like this one overlaps, so you can probably put a little bit of grey underneath where it would overlap. Along here it overlaps a bit, and a few of these little bristles down here. Now under his hand, okay, and I'm just doing really, really light strokes as well, and you probably can't see any of that. I'll try and come up a little bit more so you can see where my grey is. Okay, and then I'm just going to get my colour lifter and I'm just going to lightly go over that, just over that seam. I'm not going over the grey, I'm just going where the white and the grey touch in a sort of in a way, just to soften the edge. And under, and just, yeah, just to try and soften. It's that light anyway, it doesn't really matter. So there is my Santa being coloured and done. So now I can cut him out and turn him into another card. So I am going to try and clean this up for YouTube. So apologies to the YouTube people if I wasn't successful in that. I've never tried it before. But here is the card that I created with him. I cut him out. I'll just have to bring, oops, I'm trying, there we go. Oops, sorry. New phones, I tell you, I think I've got to go back to, what I know, which is an Apple. So I might wait until September when the new one comes out. But there is my Santa. So I've used crumb cake for the base with a little bit of balmy blue. And the paper, which is really pretty, it's got a really nice pattern in the background. That is from the 'Tis the Season 6x6 paper that's coming out. I have used a little bit of twine around and linen twine, tied it in a bow. White embossed Don't Stop Believin' and cut it out. And these are the new sequins that are also coming out. They are in 3 different shapes and have 4 different colors in them. So, and there's a whole lot of them as well. So, but these ones are really, really easy because they're flat bottomed. You can stick them to your card without any issues at all. So very, very handy. Okay, so I know that was a very impromptu live, but thank you for joining me. And if you've missed it, if you're just joining me now, you can go back and watch. I'm so out of practice with my lives and it'll take me a while to get back used to them again. I'm so used to be doing my YouTube videos now. Okay, thanks very much. Have a great day and a great weekend, and I hope you stay warm. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and try and warm my hands up again. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.